So through a new upcoming firmware update, the GH6 is going to get RAW over HDMI to the Blackmagic Video Assist on 4K 120 and 100 frames per second over HDMI. Well, considering the S5X got BRAW externally recently, I'd say it was overdue, and I'm sure some guys into slow-mo recording will welcome being able to output 4K 120p to their external recorders, but I don't think any external recorders can record 4K 120p as of yet. I don't do any of those things. I've always been tempted to get an external recorder just to see what all the fuss is about, and there are some things I would like to see come from Lumix for their Micro Four Thirds cameras, and so I'll give you just 5 of the things I'd like to see. 1. AVC Ultra 12-bit. Why make us have to add another piece of gear to get a 12-bit codec? Just give us the codec you have already that can be used in every NLE and not just specific ones like you have to with ProRes RAW and BRAW. 2. Timecode over Bluetooth. This would allow us to wirelessly sync up to 3 devices to something like the Atomos UltraSync Blue, which means we would be able to sync 2 cameras wirelessly to a field recorder like the Zoom F3 and without needing a timecode box for each device. 3. Firmware updates for the BGH1. I'd like to have ProRes RAW or even some of the more chunkier AVC 800 megabit per second codecs internally or through SSD, and the color science brought more in line with the GH6, because now the BGH1 is technically the only proper Micro Four Thirds cinema camera we have from Lumix, and it's got a form factor that's better for rigging, and it's a low light beast. 4. Lzone. Lzone is a new and innovative exposure tool from cinematographer Ed Lachman. The only way I can describe it is that it looks like false color, but helps to accurately gauge your exposure as it gives a reading in everything in the frame based on stops. Sort of like the luminance spot meter, but you can see the different exposure values of the whole scene all at once. Lzone has already been added to the VariCam cinema cameras, and so I'd hope to see it added to Lumix cameras via firmware, but there's a chance that it won't be added, just like the 12-bit AVC Ultra, which again is in the VariCam cameras but not in the Lumix cameras. And that leads me up to 5, a proper Lumix Micro Four Thirds cinema camera. This means an interchangeable Micro Four Thirds lens mount, internal ND, dual ISO, full XLR and all the bells and whistles, topped off with some of that Lumix stroke VariCam color science. Anyway, they're just my thoughts, but get in the comments and let me know the feature or gear you'd like to see coming from Lumix. And once again, thanks for watching.